What he's done is, quite frankly, ridiculous. He just has the right mentality to achieve greatness.
He's doing unbelievable things, and that's always impressed me a lot.
He's got all the key components to be, the greatest ever.
I would love my record to stay forever, but you just have to accept that the records are made to be broken, and he's going to break it.
The all-time Grand Slam record of Pete Sampras of 14. My aim is really to try to break that record. Absolutely. I don't want to just equal it, I want to try to break it.
Sunrise over the London skyline. Dawn of a new era in tennis. When Roger Federer and Mark Philippoussis walked into the cauldron of centre court for their first Grand Slam final, at stake was the holy grail of tennis. Raised in the shadows of the Swiss mountains, Federer had spent his life fine-tuning his game for this moment. He was now ready to add his DNA to the bloodline of Wimbledon champions.
I remember me being the favorite all of a sudden now in my first Grand Slam final against Philippoussis. I was like, that's strange, now all of a sudden I'm the favorite, and now I'm supposed to win. If I lose, I'll be so disappointed, I'll cry for days, So these kind of things are going through my mind.
Right from the beginning, the atmosphere was so great, and I just loved being on centre court, being able to watch my son playing a final, and I knew how much Wimbledon meant to him.
Came out and I played actually a good match. It was a couple of tiebreakers, which is always tough in slams. I was really pleased though the way I played, and the moment when everything happens, I remember I almost cried prior to the match point, because I knew I'm about to win here, because I think I was up 5 or 6-1 in the tiebreaker. I was like, it's about to happen, I'm going to be Wimbledon champion, and like, oh no, keep yourself together, and I just hope, just make an error, just miss one ball, please Mark, just miss it, okay, so I don't have to hit a winner. And it happened, he missed a return, and yeah, obviously most incredible feeling.
I was always joking around when I was a boy. I'm going to win this. And now I have it.
That's huge. That's tremendous. And then the way he won the Wimbledon was the turning point in his career. Obviously, it took a lot of weight from his shoulders and transformed him into the champion that he is.
Je crois que c'était une manière de se dire et de se convaincre, oui, maintenant, je peux le faire.
I think winning your first Grand Slam is like winning your first title. It releases pressure, and you don't. If the career stops right there with an injury or whatever it is, you're happy. You've won a slam. This is what players are aiming for.
At home, Federer became an instant national hero. Dealing with all the attention alongside his girlfriend Mirka would be a skill they would have to acquire quickly. Their way of doing that was simple. They would just be themselves. Winning Wimbledon looked like it would be the catalyst to greatness. The sky was now the limit. Australia has produced some of tennis's most endearing champions. At the 2004 Australian Open, victory would guarantee Federer the #1 spot in the ATP rankings. Not even the formidable Marat Safin could stand in the way of that goal.
I won the Australian Open and my second Grand Slam title, and that was a big moment for me, becoming #1 in the world for the first time, because you know, all my heroes were #1 in the world. So I got my first and second Grand Slam title, but then on top of that I got #1 in the world, which was unbelievable.
Since he has become the #1 player in the world, I sense that he's grown into what the responsibility of the position demands. Not everyone lives up to that demand, but we have a great guy on our hands in that respect.
#1 in the world, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process of hard work, and you have to own it too, you know. All right, one more.
At Wimbledon, destiny dealt Federer a card that pitted him against the man he knocked off the #1 spot just 5 months earlier. The powerful Andy Roddick was out for revenge.
Roddick probably has never played better or more ferociously for a set and a half than he did in that final. And he threw it all at him. Huge serves. Probably never has hit the ball harder before or since, I don't think, than he did in that match. And Roger, you could see him eyes a little bit wider than usual, which is a rare thing for him.
I knew it would be a dangerous and difficult match from then on. At least, you know, I had a good reaction to it. Luckily for me, I could turn it around, and I think the reason why I won is because I really fought hard and stayed very calm.
And you could see him absorb it with his game and then gradually just tightening the screws and reeling Andy in. And Roger's class just over time wore him down. And I think that was one of the better finals I've seen him play for that very reason. That match for me was a really critical one for Roger's career, that he won that after the opening onslaught.
Roger just played too good today. You know, I threw the kitchen sink at him, but he went to the bathroom and got his tub.
I started to just pour out all the talent I had, and I finally could unlock all my potential. It was unbelievable, you know, the feeling I got after it. I got so confident, and with confidence you play better, and when you play better you get more results, and the whole thing was like this snowball effect. For me, that opened up the gates.
Ridiculous. Great.
Something clicks in you and you just start dominating. It becomes easier. It's not as complicated. It doesn't take as much energy out of you to play a great match. And I think it's a God-given talent. I think it's a will.
He's so quick around the court, but that's one of the keys to his success. It's just great to watch him play. I think he's one of the best players to watch.
His game is so complete. His forehand is as good as anyone's, and I think one of the deceptive aspects is his movement. I think a lot of that has come from the confidence that breeds.
His consistency, you know, from day in and day out. He just brings it each and every day. As much as tennis, you know, players have to travel. They travel all over the place. For him to be, you know, that prepared each and every event is actually pretty phenomenal.
I didn't enjoy that so much in the very beginning. So now praises are beautiful. I enjoy them. I like them. Sometimes I like them too much. My girlfriend has to stop me from looking and listening all the clips and reading all the articles about me. But that's okay. She thinks it's funny.
After defeating Andy Roddick at the previous Wimbledon Championships, Federer was aiming to prevent the American from realigning the power balance.
the most physically gifted player I've played against, but with that, he's just become so solid mentally. Told him before, I'd love to hate you, but you're really nice. You just have to sit back and say too good sometimes.
L'erreur serait aussi de croire que tout est venu de ce talent. Un talent n'est rien s'il n'y a pas une dose énorme de travail.
The conditioning of a champion. The hours spent on the practice court rack up. The limbs ache, but the will to win never dies. Simply put, Federer's focus on winning sets him apart from the rest.
Qui est le patron de ses capacités mentales. C'est tout simplement comme ça que vous utilisez le travail que vous faites pour vous renforcer aussi mentalement. Quand vous avez fait un exercice qui est dur, alors vous savez, si vous avez réussi cet exercice, c'est aussi une réponse positive pour le mental. Alors dans ce contexte-là, il peut y avoir un lien entre le physique et le mental, mais il y a aussi beaucoup de liens entre la façon de jouer et la façon de s'exprimer sur le court. C'est un ensemble, c'est un puzzle, le mental, le tennis et le physique.
New York, a city famed for its unpredictability and brashness. The scene for one of Federer's most focused finals. Roger would return to the city that takes no prisoners as defending champion and would battle for the US Open title against one of the game's most illustrious champions.
The final that sticks out for me, of course, would be the Agassi final. And that he played Roger was very fitting and symbolic. And I think Roger managed to handle the crowd, which was completely against him, and handled it with a lot of dignity and a lot of composure. If I recall, after that final, Andre said, I've been disappointed in the past when I've lost matches like this, but this time I'm really not, because at some point or another you have to admit the obvious, and that's just that you're losing to a better player. Having played against Sampras and Becker and Edberg, Lendl, and McEnroe as well, that's quite a statement.
Being called one of the greatest of all time usually requires a lifetime's work. Federer was receiving such praise aged just 24. If proof is required of Federer's dominance week in, week out, look no further than his performances at the Masters Series. Of his 50-plus singles titles, currently 14 of them have been won on this illustrious tour, where the elite of tennis face each other. His consistency at winning on a global scale has ensured Federer has kept the #1 spot every week for the past 4 years, surpassing the previous record held by Jimmy Connors. Federer is on course to being the biggest record breaker of all time. From Houston to Shanghai, his dominance at the end-of-season Masters Cup is perfection personified. During private moments of contemplation on court, the calm facade disguises the fire within. The burning desire to succeed, to challenge history, to be called a champion. Federer started 2006 in top gear, turning up the heat against Marcos Baghdatis in the first Grand Slam of the season. Federer's determination, allied with his killer instinct, was now familiar to the watching world, and it was leaving us wanting more. On a stage full of history, the presence of another great champion, Rod Laver, was not lost on Federer.
Roger's very emotional about tennis. He's interested in the history. I've experienced this time and time again, how he's very inquisitive. He wants to know as much as possible about the legends of the past in the game, and I think this was also the reason why he became so emotional.
I think he's even comfortable how great he is. You know, probably talking about it and being compared with me and Laver and just the history of the game, I think he's pretty humble.
There's something different about Federer. I just think he is bigger and better than anyone else that I've seen.
Later that year at Wimbledon, Federer fended off all challenges to his crown, dropping just a single set.
When it comes to the big moment, he has that extra gear and that extra belief that he's going to win.
He had his fourth Wimbledon title, elevating him to new heights, only reached by a select few at his favorite tournament.
I've always felt very welcome at the club, to be honest. I've gotten into this very close bond with the tournament, you know, with Tim Phillips, everybody who worked at Wimbledon. They make me feel very much at home. And then the crowds, obviously, they've always been very respectful. It's very nice to play in such an ambiance, you know, it's such a nice feeling, you know, and so I've always respected that very much, and I think people feel that, you know. I don't try to put on a show, I try to go out there and play my best tennis, try to create some magical shots if I can, you know. If it doesn't work out, you know, at least I gave 100%, and I think that's what the English people really enjoy.
Federer is a living legend at Wimbledon, something that Roger and the club are equally proud of.
Hello, welcome to the museum.
Thanks very much.
And I think we're going to go this way.
We're very proud to have him as the Wimbledon champion. We like to think we're, as it were, the best of tennis. We try to create the best stage for these athletes to perform. And I think Roger is an exceptional ambassador for the game of tennis, all that is best about tennis. He is very natural, very pleasant, and I get on extremely well with him.
It's clear Roger Federer is a popular champion, but it's what we don't see, the interaction behind the scenes with the media and players, that defines the kind of champion he is.
What you see is what you get. I think, as someone once said, he's just a normal superstar. And there aren't that many of those around.
He just handles himself really well as a person. I think it's a really great trait to have, and a lot of people get lost in the whole celebrity sort of high, you know, he's just so marketable all around the world, everyone knows who he is. But he's just such a down-to-earth, really nice guy, and I think that's probably the most special thing about him.
It's nice to get respect from your fellow players, absolutely. I try to be the normal person I am, I try to be myself. They see that I'm trying my best, you know, to promote the tour, to make tennis a better place, you know, trying to get sponsors in, and, you know, I do spend a lot of time doing interviews, and it's obviously nice to hear good comments.
Back in New York, Federer's ability to raise his game impressed a fellow champion.
His understanding of just himself, what he needs, and especially in the big points. We both love to be tested, to, you know, find out what we have inside and ourselves, whether we can bring out our best stuff at the right time. That is a rush, and it is a rush to play your best in the biggest events, and to have, you know, your game peak physically and mentally in the biggest events. That's what it's all about.
A pattern was emerging. Victory in Melbourne proved that mentally many opponents were beaten before they were even on court. But every champion has a nemesis. Rafael Nadal, the king of clay. At Roland Garros, he has been unbeatable, at Federer's cost.
A special feeling always, no? Play against the number one and not a normal number one, no? Play number one like Roger, probably the best of the history. He feel a little bit more pressure when he play against me because I'm the number 2. When I beat him, I always play a very, very good match. Always beat him in one Grand Slam is a special feeling because he's an unbelievable player. To win against Roger or against the number 1 is always a little bit of special signification.
Nadal has stopped Federer winning the French Open on 3 occasions.
I'll try everything I have in my power to achieve my goal there, my ultimate goal to win the French Open as well, because I know I got the game, and this is very important that you know that you have it.
I think he's gonna win, but if he finally that doesn't happen, in my opinion, he's the best. I think finally this is only a game. So when the game is finished, after that, that's a stupid thing about more rivalry outside of court, no? It's a lot of more important things than tennis or life. So in these moments, the tennis is a very important part of our life, but after the tennis we have our life too.
I've played Nadal now on many occasions. I admire him a lot for his game and what he's achieved in his young ages already. And I've had some phenomenal matches against him.
There comes a time when every champion has to stare directly into the eyes of adversity. At the 2007 Wimbledon final, the future of tennis hung in the balance. Roger was aiming to equal Bjorn Borg's 5 in a row. The stage was set for an historic battle between the world's top 2.
All the components were there. You're playing this guy who suddenly has got it as far as grass is concerned. The script could not have been better. The number 1 against the number 2, and Nadal was brilliant. It was full of absolutely magnificent tennis. 2 players at the height of their game, desperate to win. You had it with Borg and McEnroe, that's for sure. But I just think there's an extra element to the fact that Nadal, especially at Wimbledon now, he so desperately wants to win it.
The rivalry they've been having, Federer and Nadal, it's great. I mean, they bring out the best from each other and play great tennis every time they play. It's good for tennis in general.
Federer was taken to a 5th set for the first time in his Grand Slam final career. He dug deep and began to tame Nadal's onslaught. In the toughest match of his life, Federer was the embodiment of grit and determination. After 5 grueling sets, Federer's moment of victory had come.
I've gotten this on this great run, 5 in a row now, and I've gotten up to the levels of Bjorn Borg. It's an absolute dream come true. It's almost disbelief still to some degree.
2 months later in New York, Federer signed off on another momentous year with a winning performance at Flushing Meadows. His 4th US Open title brought his current Grand Slam tally to 12.
The bit mystery, who was the greatest of all time? Is it Rod Laver? Is it Pete Sampras? Who is it, you know? What do you need to win to become the greatest of all time? All I can do is give my best, and I think we should then judge my career at the very, very end and see where I'm at.